We're going to get started. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Howard Kaplan. I'm the Director of Business Development with LBI Software, and I welcome you to our HR Help Desk presentation. Today we're going to do things a little differently than some of our presentations we've done in the past. We're going to focus exclusively on the differences between an HR Help Desk system and IT Help Desk systems. Virtually all of our existing clients have converted from one form or another of a previous help desk application. Very commonly, they converted from an IT help desk system to an HR-centric help desk system. And many of our current prospective clients, are also considering the differences between HR and IT help desk systems. For the record, IT systems have been on the market for many years. There are some very good ones out there. They're generally a little less expensive than HR help desk systems, but they don't cover the needs generally of HR. And so we're going to focus on the differences between our application, HR Help Desk 5.0, and general IT help desk systems. Again, this won't be a comparison with a specific application, but really the IT help desk market in general. We're going to start the presentation with a very brief overview of LBI as an organization to tell you a little bit about who we are. We will get right into some of the differentiators between HR and IT help desk systems. Then I'll be giving a brief overview of our application, HR Help Desk 5.0, discuss some of the technology behind the product, as well as some of the important features, particularly centering around reporting and analytics. And then we'll get to a live demonstration of the actual application. LBI Software is a 32-year-old organization. We're located in Long Island, New York. We focus almost exclusively on delivery of human capital management, HR-related business applications. Virtually 100% of what we do is really mission-critical, business-critical business applications that our customers use to run their businesses. We don't build generic websites. We don't build informational sites. We build HR-related sites that medium to large organizations depend on every day. Our legacy is in custom human capital management development, but over the last several years we've developed and packaged a number of applications, and our most popular one today is HR Help Desk, so you're going to see that in a few minutes. We have an extensive amount of experience with interactive voice response and computer telephony and how that integrates into HR Help Desk, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. So let's get right to the differentiators between HR and IT systems. It really can be summed up in three words: security, privacy, and confidentiality. For those of you that are using or have used the IT Help Desk systems, you know they generally don't have a concept of privacy and confidentiality. There's really not a lot of privacy or security involved in my PC's broken or my telephone's not working or I can't log into the network. These are the things we focus on in an HR Help Desk system. It's important to note that our applications and our hosting services are HIPAA compliant, PHI compliant, and for our European clients and prospective clients, we are Safe Harbor compliant. And though many of you know that if you are out of compliance with these regulations, fines can be extremely costly. And so how do we actually achieve this security, privacy, and confidentiality? Well, in the next bullet, you'll see we have something we call interactions. These are private dialogues that take place during the course of resolving a case between an employee in HR and HR to HR. So typically, in most businesses today, you're using your corporate email to interact with employees. They send you a question, you respond back with another question, they answer your question, and that thread generally takes place and is stored in your corporate email system. Some of the disadvantages are, number one, those threads can be very confidential in nature in some cases, and it is very possible to BCC or forward these conversations to unauthorized eyes and unauthorized personnel. So that could immediately put you out of compliance with HIPAA regulations particularly in the United States. We also have a concept of confidentiality in cases, and you'll see this in a few minutes, but when we tag a case as confidential, for instance, a harassment case or a manager dispute case as an example, when we tag those cases as confidential, they are only viewable and accessible by the assigned HR person or personnel. For instance, if I have a harassment case and your policies say those cases go directly to the VP of HR, only the VP of HR will be able to see the case and actually act on the case and resolve the case. That case will not show up on anyone else's report or filtered list or database output. A further added feature is protected access. And what is protected access? This is a little less confidential than confidential cases, but it's very important to note that you can create a case that's visible by other HR users, but they can't actually open and edit and resolve the case. So it's protected from write access. And then we have the concept of group access, where cases, for instance, cases going to payroll, would only be viewed by and accessible by payroll personnel, because there's a lot of confidential information, particularly if we're talking about wage rates, benefits, etc. We also provide an HR-specific searchable database. We call it the wiki database. You can see an example of it in the right-hand corner there. This gives HR the ability to publish all of your HR documents, benefit guides, handbooks, calendars, forms, etc. We actually catalog, categorize, and index all of the words, all of the text in all of these documents, and make it available to employees as well as HR in a Windows Help style searchable format. So I can search for information on retirement as an example, simply using the keyword of retirement. Or I could peruse the table of contents or do a key phrase search as an example. Very nice feature. We also have something that we refer to as workflow, HR-centric workflow. Let's take an example of FMLA. For an employee to make an FMLA request, there are a number of steps that HR has to go through before that request can be approved and the case can actually be closed. So HR has the ability to either hard code or create on the fly a set of tasks that must be accomplished before that FMLA case can be resolved. And as you see in this image on the right, this case would not be closed until all 5 of these particular workflow issues were resolved to your satisfaction. We also provide the ability to escalate cases to only to authorized personnel, as well as reassignment of cases. We also provide overdue notifications. Those overdue notifications will go to not only the case owner, but the case owner's manager as well. And then, particularly from a reporting standpoint, particularly for customers that want to track key performance indicators, basically, what's happening in the personnel of my organization, we track things like morale issues, performance issues, and these are things that are just simply not known in the reporting system of an IT help desk solution. We also provide, from a security and confidentiality standpoint, user-selected response methods. So I, as an employee, have a question that I send to HR through the portal. It may be a generic payroll question, so an email response is perfectly fine. It might be a manager dispute issue, in which case I want an in-person meeting or I want a personal phone call. So the employees have the ability to say, this is important to me, this is confidential, please keep it confidential. And again, it's something that you just simply don't see in HR help desk in IT help desk applications. Some of the other important features that you'll see in our systems that you don't see in IT systems, the ability to maintain non-employee records. And what are non-employees? 1099 workers, retirees, terminated workers, etc. Now, why would you want to give them access to the application? Well, retirees, You may want to give out access to benefit questions, for instance, their 401k or their pension plan as an example. Terminated workers may have questions about their COBRA benefits. Family members of workers that are on disability, for example, may need to interact with HR. So we give you the ability to store in a separate database, fully integrated with our system, non-employees that have limited access, and you determine their access levels, but limited access to the business application. We also support social media integration. Our customers really consider this a double-edged sword. Some of our customers like social media integration. They want to be able to see what employees are saying on the internet. Others are concerned about the legality of using that actual information. So this is a feature that's turned on or turned off based on your request. But what it does is it gives you one-click access to every employee's Facebook page, Twitter, LinkedIn accounts, etc. So for instance, an employee may be looking for a job and he's posting his resume on LinkedIn. You can actually view that if it's part of his public record. Or you've heard rumors that an employee is bad-mouthing the organization. You want to see what they're saying on Facebook. So this is just one of those nice features that gives HR users a 360-degree view of the employee and what's going on with that employee, not only in the office, but outside of the office. We also offer full integration to benefit enrollment systems. So I might have a case that involves changing my benefits. For instance, I wanted to add a new child to the insurance policy. We have the ability to provide one click link from the employee's web portal directly into their benefit system to make the changes or run the reports to whatever they need to do. We also provide HR users the ability to have one-click access to other HR-related systems that you may need to access in the course of resolving a case. In the image at the bottom, for instance, I'm in HR HelpDesk, but I want to access the employee's payroll record in ADP. Or I want to access his history in the Workday HR system or whatever HR system you use. Again, these things you just simply don't see in IT HelpDesk systems. We also include a document repository. This is different than the wiki knowledge base. Remember, the wiki knowledge base stores all of the text of all of your HR documents in a searchable format. The document repository provides you the ability to store those physical documents, Word docs, PDFs, Excel spreadsheets, forms, whatever those may be, in a Windows Explorer style view, so you can easily access these applications, these forms, and these documents without exiting from the HR HelpDesk system. You can access them for reference purposes or to attach to cases, do whatever you need to do with those documents. From a reporting standpoint, we also provide you the ability to not only create ad hoc reports and save those reports under user-defined names for one-click access later on. We give users, particularly managers and administrators, the ability to create distribution lists and actually schedule these reports to run and be distributed at user-defined times. So this is perfect for the HR manager that has several direct reports, and he or she needs to send them periodic performance reports, overdue case reports, whatever reports he or she may want to send. You'll also see that we have the ability to create cases within the email system, a regular free-form text message, and have those cases automatically go into the HR HelpDesk system for resolution, and you'll see that in a couple of minutes. And we also provide you with the ability to offer a common problem, sometimes known as an FAQ, or frequently asked questions knowledge base, in addition to the wiki knowledge base. This is actually a set of questions and answers that are common to HR to provide self-help to the employee. And we provide a very cool feature which allows HR users to nominate, as you can see in the circled text down there at the bottom right-hand corner. HR users have the ability to nominate cases that they get frequently. When do I get my W-2, for instance? How do I make a W-4 change, as an example? But they can resolve that employee's question, click that box, and nominate that as a frequently asked question that can then be approved and posted by an administrator. Since this is a system that's used by HR and not IT, sometimes HR users are a little less technical, and the system needs to be a little more straightforward in terms of how you work with it. Well, as you can see here, we provide HR users the ability, using these checkboxes and drop-down list, the ability to filter their open caseload from you may have 2 or 3 cases, you may have 20 open cases, but filter it to get to the specific set of cases that you want to work on in any one moment. For instance, you want to work only on overdue cases, or you want to work on anything that's urgent or overdue. You want to work on everything that's overdue that's in the payroll category. However you want to filter and sort your set of cases that you want to work on at any time. And you'll see that again in a few minutes. Some other very important features. Employees, HR users, can have scheduled absences. They can also call in sick and have unscheduled absences. We give you the ability to not only reassign an absent employee's cases on the fly, but to schedule those absences and auto reassignments automatically in advance of the person's off time. We also provide a very, very powerful feature that gives you the ability, when you're searching for a particular employee's record to work with the employee, we give you a feature called Sounds Alike. So not only can you search for an employee by name, John Smith would be easy, but what if you have a person who you really can't spell their name, but you can sort of spell it? We give you the ability to search by sounds alike for close matching results that you can select from. Also, you can find an employee via their Social Security number or other government ID number, as well as other capabilities as well. Another important differentiator between IT and HR regards SLAs, service level agreements. We give you the ability to age cases either by day or by hour. So for instance, you may have a case that is very critical, such as a harassment case or a dispute case, and you may want to have a 4-hour resolution time, or that might be a day or two. We also have the ability to say, do we want to include weekends and user-defined holidays or exclude them? Because some businesses are 24/7, 7 days a week. Other businesses are 9 to 5, Monday through Friday. So we give you a great deal of flexibility in determining how you set up SLAs for case aging. We also provide a permanent audit trail. So every single case that's stored in the system is stored forever. No information from any case is ever deleted. You'll see in a few minutes that even if a user changes some of the text in one of the text fields, the original information remains. If the case is escalated and reassigned from user to user, you can see that whole history, and again, you'll see that soon. And also, it's very important, particularly from the employee standpoint, that the system be easy to use. So hopefully you'll see in a few minutes that the employee portal and their mobile access are very, very simple, providing them all the basic features they need to interact with HR. Okay, from a technology standpoint, we do have a slide in a moment that details this, but at this point, multi-platform architecture, we run on virtually every major corporate architecture, and you'll see that in a minute or two. We also offer licensing on premises or hosted, so the system can be implemented fully on your servers sitting behind your firewall, or can be fully hosted and supported 24/7, 365 by LBI. In either case, this is what is referred to as a single tenant architecture, meaning for security, every installation stands alone. None of our installations share anything with any other customer, so you know that your data, your application server is segregated in a completely separate physical server environment from any other customer. Obviously, if we install on premises, you've segregated it, but if you wish to have us host it, we host typically only in a dedicated server environment dedicated only to you and your organization's system. We offer perpetual licensing options, which is the common traditional outright purchase, as well as SaaS monthly licensing as well. And the system, as you can see, is available in multiple languages. All right, from a technology standpoint, this is a Java-based application. It is 100% web-based, so it runs in any common browser. It runs on Internet Explorer. It runs on Firefox, Google Chrome, other browsers as well. We include mobile versions for iPhones and iPads as well as Android native devices. And from an IT perspective, it's nice to know that we require no controls like Flash or ActiveX or anything like that in order to run the system. As long as you have a current browser or a recent version of that browser, you're ready to use my system out of the box. We fully support single sign-on for our customers that ask us to. As you can see, we support all the major corporate databases and all the major corporate operating systems as well. Okay, let's start talking about some of the specific features of the application, and we'll be demonstrating them soon. First of all, how do employees interact with HR? The first way we interact with HR is through the web portal, and you'll see that soon. You'll see a screen on the right-hand side. So employees can go into from any PC or Mac, or again from the mobile devices using the mobile version. They can actually access their history of cases, search the knowledge base, create a new case, whatever they need to do. But we also provide the ability to create cases directly from an email. So you don't need anything special. You just need your regular corporate email. As long as the employee puts enough information in the subject line and in that email, we actually monitor that particular email address, whatever we set up for you, and we attempt to parse the data that's in the text and automatically forward and route that case to the appropriate person. So in this example here, this was a payroll question. It would automatically be routed to the payroll organization. We also support computer telephony and interactive voice response for our larger customers that have call centers. Now let's talk about reporting. Obviously, we provide you with the ability to run a number of standard reports, but we also have an ad hoc report writer that gives you the ability to create custom filtered reports using filtering all of the fields in every different report template, and save those reports under user-defined names for later one-click access, as well as the ability to schedule these reports to run at predetermined times, and as we mentioned before, to send to a selected distribution list of your choice. And any good reporting system is going to give me the ability to extract data points from any report. So let's say you run an overdue report and it's got all the information on it that you need, but it's also got other fields of information that you really don't need. You're looking for really just a couple of data points from that overdue report that you want to run in maybe an Excel chart or a pivot table report on. We give you the ability to select specific fields within any report that you run and export them automatically into Excel or other systems as well. So you can run pivot table reports or pivot chart reports like you see in the examples here at the right. Very powerful ad hoc reporting feature, and this is for non-technical users. Every license also includes one executive dashboard with up to 9 widgets. These are key performance indicators that we define with you and we set up. As you can see from this example, there are a number of graphical representations of that data, and you'll always have the ability to click on a single button and get to the underlying report that generated these KPI graphics. We have one quick quote from one of our better customers before we get to the demonstration. General Dynamics has been using the system for several years. They have almost 100,000 employees using the system, and this is one of the kind words they said about us. Employees were able to utilize the product with no training and had seamless interaction with the online product right from the start. Administration of the system was very simple, easy to navigate, and easy to understand. And we hope that you have the same experience as General Dynamics has. And I'm going to actually switch to the HR Help Desk live application. And what we're going to demonstrate are two major components of the application. First, I'm going to start with the employee portal to show you what the day-to-day employee sees and how he interacts with HR. I'm going to log in as Eugene Gooden. And what you see is Eugene Gooden's history screen. What you're looking at is a table of his current open requests. You'll see they're pending. There are a couple of them, as well as history of cases that have since been closed. A couple of things you want to see on the screen. Let's go top down. First of all, we provide you with a nice administration feature that gives administration the ability to send global messages to groups of employees. This could be, again, defined based on your corporate structure. This could be a global message to all employees. This could be a message to employees in a particular division or department. For instance, here, reminder, fire drill in Building 3 next Tuesday at 9 a.m. We also provide you with a feedback button that provides administrators the ability to create a survey of up to 10 questions plus an additional comments field that you can ask employees, basically how is the system doing? Where is it working well for me? Where is the self-service feature working? Where is the self-service feature not working? And this, by the way, can be pushed to the employee when we send a resolution to them via email. There can actually be a direct link to the survey to encourage employees to respond to the survey. So let's look at a couple of these cases. Let's open one right here. Clicking on the plus sign opens up the details of the case. This is a case where the employee was harassed by fellow associates. He has actually attached a corporate policy document, so he's reminding HR that there is a policy against bullying in the workplace, so he's asked for action on the part of HR. And you'll notice over here something called an Interactions button, and this is what we discussed before. The Interactions button is a storage of all the dialogues that take place between employees and HR to HR during the course of resolving a case. So before the case was resolved, Mary Jones, who owned the case, asks Eugene, who's harassing you? He comes back and says it's Bob and Jan, but I'm not trying to get him into trouble. She says, okay, we'll look into it. That's just a real simple example of how you use the interactions feature, and it's important to note that we keep that dialogue outside of the corporate email for security purposes. Also, as you notice, employees have the ability to click on the header for the table to sort their set of cases any way they wish to sort them. Also, if they have any pending cases, if they get their response before the case is resolved, they can cancel it and take it out of the queue. But let's say Eugene's got a question, so he's going to click here. These fields are definable by you based on your corporate structure. But in my demonstration, this is a large company with multiple divisions. Eugene works in Acme East. He's got a question regarding payroll and a subcategory of questions within the payroll category. He's got a paychecks question. Again, these fields are definable by you and configured by us, but this is typically what it looks like in a system. What is presented to the employee now is common scenarios, otherwise known as FAQs, or frequently asked questions. So he's got a paycheck question. There are actually 3 common scenarios that HR has published that may answer the employee's question. What we're doing here is we're encouraging the employee to use self-service rather than calling HR or sending HR an email. So hopefully this answers this question. But let's say that doesn't answer his question. If he clicks on the View Additional Documentation button, since this was a payroll category question, it jumps right to that wiki knowledge base that we talked about before, right to the payroll category. So your table of contents is configured to match exactly your categories of questions. And then again, the employee can search through the table of contents, the index. He can type in keywords, for instance, retire. We'll actually do the keyword search, retirement. And by searching either by perusing the index or using the keyword or phrase search, he can get to the set of documents that are published by HR that hopefully will answer his question. But let's say the wiki knowledge base didn't answer his question. He has the ability to create a new case. If this did answer his question, he would click on the yes button, which closes the case, tags it as a tier 0 response, meaning the employee got his response through self-service. But let's say he wants to create a new case. This is where the employee would type in his question, attach documents to the case if necessary. We won't bother. And this is one of those important security features we talked about before. How do I want to be responded to in this particular case? Again, if it's a common question, an email response is fine. If it's a personal or confidential question, you may want an in-person meeting, which shuts down the email integration, or you may want a phone call, for instance, which also shuts down the email integration. Very important feature, and one you don't see in IT help desk systems. We're now going to log out of Eugene's web portal, and we are going to go to the administrator in the HR portal. A couple of things you want to notice about these login screens. First of all, it's a login screen. If your organization supports single sign-on, your employees and HR users will not have to log into my system. They'll automatically be logged in when they click on the URL from their desktop or from a portal that you may possibly be supporting. The other thing you'll notice is our logo and our screen colors. We brand every deployment to your logo and screen colors so the application looks familiar to the employee and helps you assimilate the application into your environment. Well, I'm going to log in as an administrator, but it's important to note that roles and responsibilities and view access are defined by you and set up by you in the system. I'm logging in for demo purposes as an administrator so I can show you all of the major features that are available. But it's important to note that, for instance, a CSR or an agent may not be able to delete a case. That would only be something an administrator could do. A CSR or an agent may only be able to view cases for himself or herself or possibly their manager. But because Mary is an administrator, Mary can see every case in the system, or Mary can say, just show me the benefits cases, or show me cases for Nicole Brown, etc. So again, I'm an administrator. I want to look at all cases because someone is called in sick today. Christina Brown is called in sick today. In Christina's cases, she's got a couple of overdue cases, need to be reassigned. So I could actually click on her cases, or I could have simply said, just show me Christina's cases. I'll select them all, and I'm going to reassign them. I noticed Chelsea didn't have many cases, so I'm going to reassign them to Chelsea. Automatically, Christina's caseload is empty. When I go to Chelsea, there are Chelsea's existing case and the 3 cases I transferred over. So let's go back to all for a moment. And we talked about the ability to filter and sort your to-do list. So let's say this is my to-do list. It's a very long list. So I really don't have much time today. So I only want to work on the urgent cases, and those are designated by a red exclamation point. Or I have a little more time, so I want to work on anything that's urgent or overdue. I may want to search for a case I've closed within the last 5 days. Or I want to see all cases for Acme West as an example. So this shows you how a user has the ability to filter and select only the set of cases they want to work on at any one particular time. Let's go back to all. But let's say an employee is called in and has a question regarding an existing case. How do I find that employee and work with their records? As we mentioned before, there are several means for searching for an employee to pull up their record. One of the nicest features, very commonly used by our customers, is the sounds alike feature. So for instance, Kim Romano has called in regarding an FMLA request, which is overdue. I can't spell Romano, but I'm going to try. So I'm going to type Romano, and hopefully it's close enough. It is. There's Kim Romano. When I click on her name, I've now opened up Kim's record. This is Kim's demographic information that has come from your HR system, and these fields are definable by you, but example fields, their name, ID number, date of birth, last four of social, home address, etc. This is Kim's case history, and in particular, she's called in about case number 10, which I'm going to click on. And this brings up the details of case number 10. Here's her problem. Who do I contact to submit an FMLA request? There is a resolution yet, but it's not closed yet. She will need to call Jim and Benefits, but there are a number of tasks that need to be completed before the case can be closed. If I attempted to close the case without closing all the tasks, I would get a warning. You'll also notice that you can keep free-form notes and these can be editable text notes, as you can see, rich text format. Keep free-form notes for that particular case. Also, because I'm an administrator, I'm provided the ability to add new tasks, edit tasks, or remove tasks if appropriate. I also have the ability to create interactions. We talked about that before. But notice in the administrator screen, Mary has asked Kim a question, but she also had to go to Sandra with a question, and she had to go to Mary Anderson with a question. So from the administrator side, they see 100% of the interactions that take place in the case. The employee only sees their questions and the responses by the case owner. Let's say if this case needed to be, the case owner rather, needed to provide additional information to ensure that the employee is entitled to the FMLA request. This links button, which doesn't have anything linking on it right now, would give me the ability to go into the payroll system or the time and attendance system or the HR system to confirm that this employee has the number of hours that he or she is entitled to. You'll also notice this feature here, Edit Employee Information. It's important to note that HR HelpDesk is not the system of record for the employee master file. Obviously, that's your HR system, but this is where I can go in and I can create those non-employees that we talked about. Again, very important feature. You'll never see it in an IT system where I can keep retirees, 1099s, terminated workers, family members, etc. I can maintain their databases. I can give them limited access to the knowledge bases and limited access to the HR personnel to help them. And also a nice small but actually important feature is not only can you create notes free-form notes that are applied to every case. You can also keep free-form notes on the employee master file record. This gives the HR user who's working with the employee some insight into that employee. Maybe this person doesn't speak English well, or they're hard of hearing, or for instance, in this note, Kim was previously with the company for 8 years, she just returned. Nice little feature that's important to HR when you're interacting with the employees. You'll also notice these fields down here. This is how the case originally came in by phone. Kim works in Acme East. This is a benefits question, an FMLA request. The reason why we provide you with these drop-down lists is that it is possible for an employee to categorize their question wrong. So it gives the HR user the ability to recategorize the question to make sure that the reporting is accurate. This case has been marked as protected, and as we discussed before, that means that anyone in the HR system can see the case, but only the case owner or their manager can actually work on the case. If I were to tag this as confidential, this is the highest level of confidentiality. It would only be viewable and accessible by the case owner or case owners. We have a button down here called Show Changes. What does this do? Show Changes is the audit trail that shows you every single change that occurred in the course of resolving this particular case. Because this is a demo, there were a lot of changes, 21 revisions. Typically won't be the case in a live application. But you can click on the original and get some basic information regarding the original case. In the first revision by Mary Jones, it was originally unassigned, but she assigned it to the benefits group. The case previously was tagged as high. It was moved to urgent. And in revision number 3, you can see the red asterisk. Several tasks were created manually on the fly, and so forth and so on throughout the whole case history. Also, we like to note that not only is this information available from the dialog box that I just showed you, it's also available in a printed report, and we'll show you when we get to the report settings. Let's go to search cases. How do I find that needle in a haystack? Since we typically work with medium to larger organizations that may have high hundreds of employees and several thousand employees, what if you need to research a particular case that was closed in the past, you've got a little bit of information about it, you don't have a lot of information? How do I find that case? Well, as long as you know something about that case, and let's take an example of an employee had a $25 error on their paycheck 6 months ago. All of a sudden, that same employee is claiming another $25 error on his paycheck. All you remember was in the problem text he entered, there was the number 25 existed. What you'll see down here are 2 search results that may hopefully meet your criteria. The first one that says there is a $25 mistake in my paycheck, please check and correct. Here's another one from someone else. Can I contribute as little as $25 to the plan each month? This is the one I want to work on, so I can click it, open up the case, ready to work with it, resolve it, reopen it, whatever I need to do. So the Search Cases button gives you that ability to find, again, that particular case or that set of cases that meet a very exacting set of search requirements. Reporting we talked about before. I have the ability to run a number of standard reports. I also have the ability to take, let's say, a case status template, and let's make put a lot of data, so we'll go back to 2012. And I'm going to run a report just to give you an example of what one looks like. This will take a moment. What you're looking at is a 27-page report based on the filtering that I put in the system. Because it's a long report and you may want to get to a particular section or a particular page of the report, we provide you in every report with a table of contents. And the table of contents, as you can see, is clickable and selectable. So I want to go to the Acme East paycheck section. It jumps me automatically to page 9, and there's the information that I want to review. As you would expect, you have the ability to export the fully formatted report in a number of common formats, typically Excel, PDF, Word, PowerPoint. We also support the open source, open document format. But in addition to being able to export the report, as we showed earlier in the PowerPoint presentation, I can say, let me just pick a couple of fields of information that I want to open up in Excel. Ready to do a sorting, filtering, pivot table analysis, whatever I need to do. So the reporting capabilities are very, very powerful. We talked about the dashboard before. The license includes one dashboard, but you can license additional dashboards. The dashboards can be accessible by the people that you determine have access to the dashboard. Let's go into utilities for a moment. Let's talk about aging. We mentioned this before. HR generally has more stringent rules regarding SLAs or service level agreements, how cases can actually age. We have some customers that need to age cases by hours, others that age cases by days. We give you the ability to select either. We also say, do we want to include weekends in the aging process? Because let's say it's Friday afternoon, and I'm a 9 to 5, Monday to Friday operation. Employee sends in a harassment case Friday afternoon, and you have a 1-day SLA response time. You don't want to count weekends, so you want to say no. We don't want to age cases on the weekends, and you have the ability to create calendars of dates that you also want to exclude from the aging process. We talked about the document repository before. This is where you can take, let me just expand a few of these. This is where you can take your corporate HR documents, the benefit guides, the handbooks, etc., and store them in a Windows Explorer searchable format, a tree view. So these can be email templates, for instance, for probationary letters. These can be just hard copy documents of handbooks, whatever you need to reference to work on cases or to actually physically send to employees to back up the response to a case. And we talked about, let's see, back up for a moment, the ability to define out-of-office users. Basically, I'm scheduled to take vacation in July for a week. You can actually schedule my absence now and schedule an alternate user. So let's say Mary Anderson is going to be gone from the 13th through the 21st. All of her cases need to go to Christina. I would hit OK, and it's all done. We won't bother to go into all of the features of the utilities. Again, these are administrator-based utilities, so I need to have the administrative level access to work with these particular features. Every screen has context-sensitive help, clickable help. So therefore, we provide you with the entire user manual online and available, whether this be the employee portal or whether this be the administrator portal. Let's go back to view my cases. We're going to go through one more step. What does it look like for an administrator to create, or a CSR or an agent to create a new case? This is the new case entry screen. So this would typically be if an employee calls into HR and I need to work with the employee who's on the phone. First, you need to determine where they work. You need to determine the general category of question, let's say payroll, and again, the specific question that you may have. And as you can see, they have access to the same common problems knowledge base and wiki knowledge base that the employee has. But they have a couple of other features. Because I'm an administrator, I have the ability to automatically assign this case that I'm creating based on corporate rules, or I can force it to be assigned to me, or I can force it to be assigned to another individual. Typically, a CSR or an agent would only have these cases assigned to themselves or their manager, but that's definable by you. And if this is a question I get a lot, then I can submit this as a common problem and nominate that issue to go into the common problems knowledge base, where an administrator would go in and manage common problems. There's one open already. Problem, how many hours do I need to have worked to be eligible for FMLA? 1,250 hours in the past 360 days. I'm an admin, so I can approve it. I can delete it. I can open it up and edit it if I see fit, and then save it, and I'm all done. So we've given you a quick cook's tour of HR Help Desk, and the PowerPoint had focused most exclusively on the differentiators between the HR Help Desk and the IT Help Desk. Hopefully you understand some of the differences. We're going to end the presentation now, but I do appreciate everyone's time. Hopefully the session was interesting and informative. I will be sending a thank you note to all the attendees later today or tomorrow. And so if you have any questions or any particular interest, you'll have my full contact information to be able to get in contact with me and ask any questions you want. If you want a personal demo for your organization, or if you need further information, we'll be happy to provide it to you. So at this point, I'm going to close out the presentation. And again, I want to thank everyone for attending. Have a good day.